Hello, welcome to the live stream. This is going to be all about acting as if. So if that is something that you are interested in, if you have questions about that, if you just want to learn more about what it takes to act as if the thing you desire to have, your dream, your goal, the thing you're manifesting is already yours, then this is going to be the live stream for you. So I actually have a bunch of questions that you guys asked me on the acting as if videos that I posted on my TikTok page a few days ago. So I've got all those questions here, and I'm going to be answering them for you. But if you have additional questions as the live stream goes on, feel free to comment and to ask the questions, because I will go back through the comments after the fact and I will answer them and whatever else you want to know. Okay, so for starting out, I just want to introduce myself. For those of you who may not know me, I am Jennifer Blanchard. I'm an author and a mindset coach. I have written a book called Fuck the How, which is all about how to get whatever you want without worrying about the how, right? Because that's always the thing that stops us. And a big part of the process of saying fuck the how and getting what you want is this thing called acting as if, right? So acting as if, for anyone who isn't familiar with the phrase, basically just means that you are going to think, believe, feel, and then take action like the version of you who already has the thing that you desire to have, whatever that is for you, right? And it's going to be different for everybody. So the key is, how can you start to act as if you already have the things you want, even when you don't yet have them? And I'm just going to, I see a whole bunch of people joining, and I just want to try to figure out how to bring up the comments, because I'm not sure how to do that. And I think I got it. We'll see. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on, and I have no clue. I've only done one live stream on here, and I do not know how to use the functions here. So hopefully we'll figure it out. All right. So before I jump in and just start explaining all the stuff that I want to tell you guys, and then answering the questions that were already asked ahead of time, and then if you have additional questions, like I said, put them in the comments. I would love to know from you, what is it that you want right now? What do you desire? What is the goal that you have? What are you working on manifesting? I want to know what that is for you, because I'm going to choose a bunch of them, and I'm going to give you examples for how you can act as if you already have it and act as if it's already true for you. So drop those in the comments, and then I will answer them as we go through. Okay, so starting off, like I said, acting as if is not the only step in the manifestation process, but it is a really important one. And the reason that it's so important is because it's your opportunity to put skin in the game, right? It's your opportunity to show the universe, I believe this is going to happen. I believe that I get to have this. I believe that it's possible for me. I believe that it's going to come to fruition, right? That I'm going to have it in my life, that it's going to be something that I get to experience. And because I believe this, I'm going to put action, physical action, into the picture, right? I'm going to actually take action like I believe that it is going to work out, that I believe it's going to happen for me. So if you haven't been receiving the things that you want, there's a chance that you probably just aren't really in that state of believing, right? And really feeling that like you get to have the things. And that is a whole part of the process, right? So like I said, acting as if is having the thoughts, the beliefs, the feelings, and then taking the actions of the version of you who has the things that you want. So you have to look at, well, if I was already that person, right? Because this is now about identity. You have to see yourself, identify as the version of you who has whatever it is that you want. So whether it's a house, a car, a certain type of job, a business, a certain level of income, whatever it is for you, right? Love, a relationship. It can be anything. It doesn't matter what it is. Like I said, everyone's will be different. But it's really about that version of you, and really spending some time thinking about who that version of you would be, really feeling into, if you were already that person, right? If you already drove that car, already lived in that house, already had that job, that income, that relationship, what would you be thinking every day? What would your emotional state be, right? What are the feelings that would be coming up for you on a regular basis, right? What are the beliefs that you would hold about yourself, about your life, about the things you get to have? Because obviously all of that would be different than what it is right now that you think, believe, and feel, right? So that's why it's so important to create those things now, because when you do that, you send a message to the universe that says, this is who I am now, right? I believe I'm this person, and I believe it so deeply, I'm going to act like I'm this person, right? I'm going to think like this person. I'm going to believe like this person. I'm going to feel the feelings that this person feels, And then I'm going to take action as if I am already this person. And I'm going to give you guys lots of examples, like I said, as we go, so that you can really start to see how you can implement this in your own life. So I want to know what you are manifesting or what your goal is right now. So share in the comments, and then I will give you some ideas on how you could act as if it's already true for you. Okay, so acting as if, in my opinion, acting as if is really about acting in faith of receiving, right? It's literally you saying, I believe, I know this is going to happen for me, and because I believe it, I'm going to put action into the mix, right? I'm going to take action. I'm going to show up as this version of me. I'm going to do the things the version of me who has this thing would do. And there are a lot of things that you could be doing, right? And I think one of the things that gets caught up for people, that people get really stuck on, is the feeling of, well, if I don't have the money to buy the things I think I would buy as this person, or if I don't have the money to invest in the things I think I would be investing in, or whatever, as that person, then I can't really act as if, right? I can't do anything. And so that's why the foundational part of it is your thoughts, your beliefs, and your feelings. Because when you feel that way, when you think that way, when you have beliefs like that, that's when you actually start to take action and act as if you're already that person. It starts to just happen naturally as an extension of you thinking a certain way, right? Believing a certain way. Act as if you have your dream house. Okay, yeah, that's a great example, right? So let's say you're manifesting your dream house, okay? But right now, from where you're at, maybe you don't have the money for it, or maybe the house doesn't exist yet. So maybe it exists, but it's not necessarily for sale. So like obviously it exists somewhere, but maybe it's not for sale, right? So maybe the kind of house you want isn't available yet. It's not for sale in your area or whatever. Whatever is going on for you that's making you feel like you don't have this dream house right now, right? So it's obviously knowing that that's going to be so what, right? Whatever is going on in your life right now is always the so what, right? It's your starting point. This is where I'm at, but no big deal. It doesn't really matter because things can change in an instant. That is just how it works, right? So knowing that, how can you act as if you get your dream house, right? Or that you're having your dream house, that you're already living in this dream house? Well, things you can do that don't cost money, first of all. Change the way you think, change the way you believe, change the way you feel, right? So those are your first three things. What thoughts would you have if you lived in your dream house, right? You would think things like, I deserve this. I am worthy of this. I get to live in the house that I love. I love waking up here every day. Like, what thoughts would be going through your head, right? As you're experiencing this house, right? As you walk through each room and you see everything that's in there and you're feeling this excited state of, I have this amazing dream house, right? What are you seeing when you look out the window? Get yourself emotionally tapped into what it is you would be experiencing in this dream house, right? So whatever you're seeing out the window, you can visualize. Visualization is a really good one if you're someone who's able to actually see pictures in your mind. Imagine it, right? Imagine what it would be like to wake up there, what you're seeing outside, what you're experiencing inside, like all of that. And you really get yourself into the emotional state of it. And if you can't visualize, if you feel like you're not really someone who can visualize, you could always write it out. So like actually write out every single day what you would be feeling and experiencing living in this house, right? I'm so grateful that I get to wake up here. It's so amazing. I feel so great every morning when I see the sunrise and it's coming up over the water and it's so beautiful. And describe it, right? Use your senses to tap into the emotional state of, this is already true for me, right? This is already my life, even if it's not right now, right? And it doesn't cost any money to do that. You can do this right now. After this live stream, you can go for 5 minutes, set a timer, close your eyes, and visualize yourself living in that dream house, right? Doing the things you would do if you already had that dream house. So those are going to be your more energetic, internal work type actions, right? The things that are going to be about your thoughts and your beliefs and your emotional state. And as far as the actions of the dream house, well, okay, first of all, are you ready for the dream house, right? Have you gone through all of your stuff and decided what you would keep and what you would get rid of if you were ready to move, right? If you were actually moving, did you do that yet? Have you gone through and organized things and cleaned things out? Like, have you packed? Have you gotten yourself a realtor if it's something that you are able to do right now, right? Like, have you looked into, started researching, what is it going to cost to get a house? What are the options out there for loans? Like, there are always little action steps you can take, even if you're not actually able to buy the house right now, right? So I've been manifesting a dream house for myself, actually a lake house, and it's been since probably about a year or so since I decided that I'm going to have this house. And I have had a lot of internal shit to deal with around this house, right? And the beliefs things and all that stuff. So I have been working my way up. And the more and more that I do the internal work around this, the more I believe that I get to have this house, the more I'm start taking the actions that I would take as if the house is already mine, right? So there's there's always so many things that you can do that don't have to cost you money. Like, I haven't spent any money over the last year, but I have tapped into almost every single day that feeling of what it's like to live on the water, what it's like to wake up every day and be on the water and get to write my books while I look at the water and, all of that stuff. And I've done things like I have contacted realtors and I've looked into, okay, what is it? What kind of credit score do you need? What's the down payment? Like, looking into the loan options, what's available right now. Obviously, I have an account on several different websites where they have houses, and I look at the houses, what's available, what's for sale. I mark the houses I like doing the things I would be doing if I was buying the house, even though at the exact minute I didn't have the ability to buy the house, right? It's just acting as if, doing the things I would do as if it was already true. And the more I do that, the more I start feeling like it is true. And that's just one example there. And, like I said, comment with what your goal is or what you're manifesting, because I'd love to give you examples and ideas for ways that you could act as if. Okay, so like I said, I have a lot of different examples, and I have a lot of questions that you guys asked me in the comments of the videos that I posted talking about acting as if. So I'm going to go through now and just answer the questions that you guys asked. And then I think a lot of examples are going to come up as we do that. And if you have any other questions or anything, just let me know. Okay, so I'm just going to start from the top here. People, like I said, asked me a whole bunch of questions. So I just kind of wrote them all down, not in any particular order. So I'm just going to answer them. And I believe that everything that you need to hear, that you need to know to actually implement acting as if in your own life is going to come through in the responses to all of these questions. So, and if not, like I said, you can always ask me more. Okay, should I buy kids' clothes because I'm manifesting having kids? That was a question that someone asked me on one of the videos. So my response to that is yes, if buying the kids' clothes makes you feel like the kids are real, right? That you have the kids already, they're yours. If buying the clothes makes you feel lack or like you don't have the kids yet, then it's not the right action to take. So the way you decide whether you're going to take an action in whether you're acting as if is if the action feels good to you, then you take the action. But if it doesn't, then you don't. Because at the end of the day, it's always about the feeling more than anything else. So if it's creating the feeling for you of I have this thing, it's mine, it's real, it's happening now, then that's good, right? That's a good action to take. That's a good belief to have. That's a new way of thinking. That's all good, right? But if it's making you feel like you don't have it, right? Like you're feeling the lack of it, that's not a good action to take, right? That's an action that's too far outside of your belief at that moment. So obviously the action part matters, but the most important thing is that you're always working on the internal state, because that's where everything is being created from, right? You are cause, everything else is effect. So you are creating with your thoughts, your beliefs, and your emotions. And so now it's all about, what are you experiencing? Is it what you want? And if not, how can you shift it? By changing the internal state, right? The way you're thinking about it, the way you're believing about it, and things like that. What if I'm a bad person and it feels good to do bad things and I don't want to be a bad person? Well, I don't think you are a bad person, because I don't believe that anyone is innately a bad person. I think maybe we make bad choices. Maybe we go down bad paths that are not necessarily right for us. But I don't think you're an innately bad person, because I don't believe anyone is born that way. So I think it's about you deciding right now that you don't want to be that person anymore, and then taking action to be a different version of yourself. And yeah, maybe doing bad things feels good sometimes, but it depends on the type of person you want to be, right? You can continue to be who you've been, but if you're feeling like you don't want to be that, then in my mind, that basically says that you have a split energy going on, right? You're no longer feeling like this person doing bad things. You're feeling like this other person, but you're still acting in a way that doesn't fit with that, right? So it's about changing the actions. And obviously the internal state as well. Okay, at what point am I delusional and crazy? I go back and forth from affirming and then telling myself, girl, what are you saying? Okay, so sometimes in manifestation, people will tell you you're crazy, right? You're crazy, that can't happen, it's not possible, that's never gonna occur for you. But the truth is, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, right? It doesn't matter what they think, because they can't create for you. Only you can create for you. So ignoring everything that people think, right? Because I can't even tell you how many times people have told me I'm delusional, I'm crazy. But you know what? At the end of the day, I always get what I want, or something even better. And that is 100% true for me, and I know that. So even if something hasn't happened yet, I know it's still coming, right? It's going to happen, and I fully believe that. So I know that when I say things, even if people think I'm crazy sometimes, that I know that it's going to happen. And at some point, they will see it and then they will know, oh, wait, you're right. It did happen, right? Because that's what always happens. So I don't ever think you're really delusional, right? I don't think you're delusional. I don't think you're crazy. However, it sounds like you have split energy, right? Because if you're affirming sometimes and other times you're telling yourself, girl, what are you saying, right? That it's not going to happen, it's crazy or whatever, then in that case, you have split energy, right? You are feeling like you don't necessarily align with the things you're affirming. And so now it's time to do the inner work around changing the thoughts, changing the beliefs, changing the emotional state regarding whatever things you're affirming, right? Because you're probably just affirming things that don't feel true to you right now, which is okay, because when you're doing a new belief, it's not going to feel true at first. It's going to be something you're trying on, right? Something you're like, okay, yeah, let me see if this fits for me. One thing that I like to do with new beliefs like that I'm affirming is that I will change up the wording until it feels good to me, right? So until I actually get an emotional charge in my body, I will keep changing the way I say things, right? I will change the wording until one day I say it and I'm like, yes, that's the phrase, right? That's it. And then it becomes my like mantra, right? And I just repeat it over and over again. And eventually it becomes an actual truth for me, right? A belief that I now have that then becomes my actual reality because I've created it as a belief. So I don't ever think you're delusional or crazy. I think it's really just about making sure that whatever you're affirming, you're also creating the internal state that agrees with that thing, right? Okay, if I want $100,000 and I don't have it, and I want to buy a car, and I would buy a car if I had that kind of money, how can we take action on that? So there's a couple of things here. First, do you want the money or do you want the car? Because there's a limiting belief going on in this question, which basically is that you have to have money to buy this car. That's not actually true. I've actually manifested a free car. I have several clients I've worked with who have manifested cars. So it's not that you have to have money for a car. It's that your belief says I have to have money before I can buy a car. So do you want the money or do you want the car, right? And so if you want the car, ask for the car and then take action on the car, not, asking for the money and thinking that's the only way you can get the car. That is a limiting belief. There are so many other ways that things can happen. And so if you just choose to believe that like those two things are not connected, that you can have the money and the car, but you don't have to necessarily have the money in order to get the car, like there's a lot more possibility in that, right? It opens up more possibility for you. But the thing I would say is, let's say it is the car that you want, right? So to take action on that is first, do you even know what car it is you do want, right? Are you clear on that? Are you very clear on if I had this money or if I was buying a car right now, this is the exact car I would buy? And if you're not, that's a really good thing to start with, right? Is get really clear on what vehicle, what I want, like what car. Can you do research online? Can you ask people questions who've had a car like that? Can you look at reviews for people talking about that kind of car? Can you start to look at financing options? Can you look at what vehicles are available in your area? Can you go test drive the car? Can you, there's a lot of different things you can do to act as if you're getting this car. And so it's all about making the decision that it's done, right? That because in the spiritual realm, like in the universe, like energy, it's always done the second you ask for it, right? The second you decide that it's done, it's done. But that doesn't mean there aren't things that have to happen in the physical reality before it can actually come through. So that's why you want to get clear on what you want, right? So you can ask for it and you can decide that this is what you're getting. I'm getting this car. I'm getting this money. I'm getting this whatever it is. Okay. Now, these next three questions they're kind of similar. They're more about manifesting people, more about acting as if around like an actual person or like a relationship. So I'm going to like answer all the questions, but basically I feel like they're kind of similar. So what kind of action can I take if I want to manifest someone coming to me from another country and staying? Similar question. Would this work if I'm manifesting a person messaging me as well? So basically, can I get somebody else to do something by acting as if? So yes and no. Yes, it's possible that you could act as if and someone could do what it is you desire them to do. However, they also have free will, right? And they get to decide for themselves. They get to think their own thoughts. They get to believe their own beliefs. They get to take their own actions. So you don't ever really get to decide what someone else is doing. And so for that reason, yes, it is possible to act as if you want to manifest someone coming to you and staying. Yes, it is possible to act as if a person is messaging you. But do you really want to limit yourself in life to this one specific person when there's potentially 7 billion other people out there who could be a better match for you, who could be even better fit for you, who wouldn't have to come from another country because they would be in your country. Like, when you ask for a very specific person, you limit so much what is available for you. You limit how much the universe can help you. And you also create this like possibly resistant energy if the other person isn't feeling the same way that you are, isn't having that same experience that you are, isn't wanting the same things that you are, because they have free will, right? They get to decide what they are open to, what they are going to think, believe, feel, what they're going to do, etc. And you can't change that. So rather than focusing on them, can you focus on you, right? Can you focus on not a specific person, but manifesting the type of person you want, the relationship you want? Can you get a little less specific, right? Instead of being so specific, this one person from this other country who has to come here, or this one person very specifically who I want to have message me, it's can you get specific on what kind of person do you want? Not the actual specific person that you know who is these things, but what are the things you want in general, right? What are the characteristics, the qualities, what kind of experience do you want them to be? What kind of like energy do you want them to have? How do you want to feel when you're with them? All of that stuff, right? Get clear on that stuff. And then really you can ask for that stuff, right? Because that's what you truly want, not that specific person you think that is going to give you all that stuff. So get less specific, and then you can act as if it's already true, in the sense that like you can decide, I already have this amazing person in my life. It's already real. And then you're going to live your life as if that's already true, right? So instead of waiting around, instead of sitting around moping, or instead of sitting there all day swiping left and right on people on a dating app, like, can you live your damn life? Can you do the things you would do as if you already had the relationship, you already had the life? Now, an example I have of this one and acting as if was when I was manifesting my divorce, which that was actually the premise of this entire channel. It's the premise of my entire book, Fuck the How, where I explained how I manifested my divorce. And one of the things I did to act as if was I got into the feeling state every single day as if I already had the relationship I wanted. So I was in a marriage. It was just okay. Like, it was one of those mediocre situations where you've been with the person since you were in your early 20s. You've changed and grown quite a bit over the time that you were together, and you're just not the same person you used to be. You don't necessarily want the same things, but you're on that, like, I don't know. And that's where I was at, where I was like, this relationship isn't necessarily what I want, but I've been with this person for a long time, and I don't know. And so I decided to surrender to the universe and ask the universe to figure it out for me. And my acting as if it was already done, right, was that if it was already done, I would have the kind of relationship I wanted. I would be feeling the feeling of love every day. I'd be feeling the feelings of, I'm so happy, I'm so joyful because I'm in this amazing relationship. So that was what I started to create for myself. I started to embody that feeling every day. And I did it through music. So listening to music that made me feel those emotions, watching certain TV shows or movies where there were things happening in those scenes that made me feel those emotions, right? The feelings of love, the feelings of joy and happiness. And like, I have a relationship that's really amazing. So I created that feeling state inside myself before I actually had it in my physical reality. And what ended up happening was I raised my vibration to a point where my ex-husband no longer resonated with me anymore. He asked me for a divorce. It was very amicable. We split. And about 6 months later, I manifested the love of my life, the most amazing relationship I've ever had. And here I am now. So it's really about knowing what you want, asking for what you want, but in a general sense, and then acting as if you already have it, right? Creating the feelings of whatever you would be experiencing in that relationship with that person. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay. And then this one, does acting as if apply to getting back together with a significant other who wasn't toxic? That feels like very convoluted question, but the biggest thing is the universe doesn't do back, right? The universe moves forward always. So rather than saying getting back with a significant other, again, do the same thing I just said. Can you get very specific on what are the general things you want in a person, you want in a relationship, and ask for that, right? Ask the universe for that. And yeah, maybe it ends up being that ex that you used to date. Maybe it ends up being that person in the other country. Maybe it ends up being the person you want to have message you. Or maybe it ends up being someone even better than that person who you don't know yet, who you haven't even considered yet, because you haven't put yourself into a vibrational state that's actually been able to receive that thing, right? So it's all about not worrying about the other person, not being specific about that specific person, but being specific about the type of person, the in general characteristics and traits and all of those things. Okay. But what if we don't know how it feels? This is a great question. Okay, so if you don't know how it feels, you guess. Oh my gosh, right? You guess. You guess. Okay, let's play a little game. If I had $1 million in my bank account right now, what emotions would I be feeling? I don't know. Okay, so guess. What emotions would you feel if you had that thing? Well, I would probably feel pretty happy, I would think. I'd probably feel pretty joyful, pretty secure. I would feel pretty free. I would feel like I could do anything, right? I would feel unlimited. So, we just got 5 things that we would be feeling. Free, unlimited, joyful, happy. These are emotional states that match the thing that you want, right? So if you think it's going to make you feel a certain way, it's because it is. So all you have to do then is create those emotional states right now so that you're matching the thing you want. You're acting as if you have it. So if money makes you feel free, secure, peaceful, unlimited, how can you create those feelings now, right? What other things in your life make you feel those emotions? What other things make you feel peaceful? What other things make you feel happy, joyful? For me, one of the biggest things that helps me to manifest emotional states is my dog. So I absolutely 100 million % can't even describe the feelings of love and joy and gratitude that I have for my dog. Not just because he's my dog, but because of the journey we've been on for the last 12 years together. And I won't even go into the whole story, but basically he was a manifestation. I manifested him from nothing. There was no way that I was ever getting a dog, not in a million years. And I just wanted one so badly because I had so much fear around dogs and I just wanted to get over that. So I thought, well, if I get a dog of my own, I'm going to raise him. I'm going to learn how to have a dog and I'm going to get over the fear of dogs. And the reason I was afraid of dogs was because my little brother got bit when we were kids. And anyway, long thing. But anyway, so I create the emotional state by getting with my dog, right? Hugging him, holding on to him, imagining him, playing, walking him, because he makes me feel so filled up with happiness and joy and just gratitude. So what in your life already causes you to feel those feelings that you believe you would be feeling if you already had the thing? And then start creating those emotions now. Now, this might sound weird, right? Well, when I go into my pantry, it's so organized, it's really clean, and everything just looks so good, and it feels so good to be in there. Spend more time in your pantry. I know that sounds stupid, but can you spend 5 minutes a day in there, right? Because in there, you feel so amazing. Or if you're someone who loves to take a bath, can you take a bath every day or every other day and get into the emotional state of whatever emotions you feel when you do that, right? You feel so happy and so taken care of and supported. Whatever you think you would feel if you had the thing, create those emotions now. And if you don't know how it would feel, guess. Guess. Just make an estimate or an educated guess on what you believe you would feel, right? Okay, well, I think it would be these things. Great, start there. Create those emotions, and then you can always change them up as you start to recognize, actually, it would be this feeling. It would be this way, right? Okay, why is it so hard to act as if? Now, I don't believe that it is hard to act as if. However, I believe that there are definitely aspects of acting as if that could feel difficult or more challenging. But I think the reason that it feels hard most of the time is because you believe that it's going to be, right? You believe that it has to be hard. And because you believe it has to be hard, you kind of just avoid it for that reason. But the thing is, it doesn't have to be hard. It could be 5 minutes a day of visualizing you having the car, having the house, having the person. 5 minutes a day. Set your timer. Close your eyes. Just imagine what it would be like. What would your day be like? How would you spend your time? What would your life be like? Imagine it for 5 minutes a day. Feel the emotions as if it's already true. And just by doing that, you are creating so much energy around it, so much power, so much momentum. And it doesn't have to be all day, right? So I think a big thing, which is the next question someone asked, which is, do you need to act as if / feel this way 24/7? Hell no. And the reason is because you couldn't. It's not possible for you to feel super high vibes, super happy, lit up all the time, 24/7, 365. You're gonna have moments of up and down. You're human, and that's okay. You're allowed to feel other emotions. You're allowed to have negative things happen. It's okay. But are you every single day intentionally creating the feeling state, the beliefs, the thoughts around the thing you want? And can you take whatever actions you are able to? So you maybe can't take every action. Maybe there's something you're limited to right now, but there's always something you can do. So an example for me was that when I wanted to be an author, right? So I obviously, from age 11, I knew I was going to be an author. I wanted it. I'd been a reader my entire life. I loved reading. I started writing. And I just realized this is what I'm going to do with my life. Like, I'm going to be an author. And I didn't know how that was going to happen. I had no clue, but I just knew it was going to happen. And so as I went through my life, like, I got inspired to take certain actions, like go to college to be a journalism major and learn about books and writing and how to ask questions and like how to write things and do all this stuff. And I got jobs out of college that led me down the path of writing and being part of book companies and all these things. And I just got myself to that point where I realized I'm going to be an author now, right? I'm going to make that decision and I'm going to be an author now. But at the time, I had never written anything like, I'd never written a book. I had never done any of that stuff. I didn't know anyone who'd done it. So it was like, I didn't know what to do. But the biggest thing I could think of for acting as if was having a habit around writing, first of all, and working on a book project until I was finished with it. And then I could say, I wrote a book, right? So that was where I started. And this was like 2007, 2008, where I finally decided I was going to be an author for real. I was going to do it for real. And I just started to act as if I was already that person. And what ended up coming of it was a blog where I started to blog about my journey to writing my first book. And from there, I grew it into a business where I coached people on writing books. And from there, I grew into the business I have now, which is writing about spirituality and teaching people the principles of manifestation and showing them how to create the life of their dreams and all of that. So that's the evolution that I went on, just from acting as if I was already the author I wanted to be, right? So there's always something you can do. You don't have to be doing it 24/7, but also keep in mind that for the most part, if you're already that person, you're taking action as that person, you're acting as that person, right? You're pretty much going to be that person 24/7 at some point. So, you know, yeah, you're going to have moments where you're not acting as that person because maybe something in your physical reality needs to be dealt with that requires you to deal with in the moment, whatever. But like, for the most part, you can always be that person on the inside, right? You can always think that way, believe that way, feel that way. And even if you're not feeling it 24/7, if you spend 5 to 10 minutes a day feeling it, believing it, experiencing it, like, it will happen. And one of my favorite authors, Mike Dooley, always says that, like, your positive thoughts are 10,000 times more powerful than your negative ones. So spend 5 minutes a day feeling good, feeling positive, having positive expectation on what you want. And the rest of the time, it is what it is. And you're still more powerful than if you just don't do that at all, right? Okay, how do you act as if with money? So I have a good example for this one for you guys. And the thing I'm going to say is two things. First is, what specific amount of money do you want, right? So you could say, I want more money, but you know, the universe could bring you $5. That's more money. So be specific about what you want as far as how much money, right? How much money do you want? What is the money for? You don't have to always know what it's for, but it's helpful if you know what it's for, because then you get into that state of like, oh, well, this is how much would be required to have this thing. But my bigger thing is, which I mentioned before, rather than focusing on the money, is what is it you want the money for, right? Because you want it for something. If you just want it to sit in your bank account, why? Like, you can't take it with you when you go. So, like, why do you want it sitting in your bank account for no reason? There's something you want to do with it, right? So what is it you actually want? Because a lot of times, if you focus on what you want and you ask for what you want and you act as if you have the thing you want, the money becomes irrelevant, right? Because you get it another way, it shows up another way. Like, there's always another way. So believing that, how can you focus on that instead of the money? Now, if you do want money, if there's something specific you want money for, you can absolutely act as if and manifest money. So my example that I'm going to give you of this one is, and I don't know what time it is. Let's see. Okay, we're good on time. Okay, so back when I was still married, this was Christmas of like 2015, I think. My ex-husband and I were living in New York, which is where my family's from, New York State, and his family is from Texas. So it was right before the New Year's of that year, so it was the end of Christmas, like the 28th, 29th of that month, and we found out that his grandfather died. So we woke up one morning, and he got a phone call from his family, and they said that his grandfather had passed. Now, we kind of knew that he was not going to probably be around much longer. We had plans to go down like in January or February of the next year. No official plans. We didn't have any money saved or any of that, but we just kind of had it in our heads like, yeah, we'll probably go early next year to see everybody. But now it was like, okay, well, his grandfather just died. We really want to be there for the funeral. But we didn't have any money. We had no way of paying to go on this trip. But we both really wanted to be there. And so we just decided we're going on this trip. I don't know how. I don't have to know how. I'm just going to believe that it's going to happen. And that's it. So we just started acting as if we were going on the trip. Even though at that time, no money, no idea if we were actually going, what we decided we were going to. We got up, we packed our suitcases like we were going. I canceled all of the appointments that we had for the week or rescheduled them because we weren't going to be there anymore. He took the car to our friend who's a mechanic to get looked at because we knew we were going to drive the car down to Texas, and obviously we couldn't drive it if there was something wrong with it, so we took it to the mechanic to get looked at. Then he called me and he was like, hey, it's going to be like $200, fix the car. Still didn't have any money, but we're just like, okay, we're going to act as if. So he decided, and I'm not saying this is the action you should take. I'm just telling you what I did. So we decided between the two of us, like, just go negative in the bank account because we had an overdraft, so we could still technically use that. We would just have to pay it back. So I said, just go negative in the bank account. It's fine. We'll figure it out. So he's like, okay, because they said, we're going on this trip, right? So we're acting as if we're going on this trip. We have to fix the car. So he's like, all right, fine. So he puts it up. He says, okay, he gets the car fixed. While he's getting the car fixed, I'm doing things, little things around the house that I can do to like prepare us for going on this trip, right? Now I own a business, so obviously there were some things I was doing with my business stuff. I was, looking at, I actually had an idea for this workshop, so I was sitting down, like writing up some stuff for the workshop and making a sales video, and I was getting ready to like put that together and probably launch it the next day so that I could start telling people about it, and maybe that could be a way to bring some money in. But what ended up happening instead was while he was getting the car repaired and I was doing the stuff for my business, I ended up receiving a $2,500 payment in my PayPal account. So within 3 hours of us deciding we were going on this trip, the money showed up. More than what we needed showed up. And the way it came wasn't how I expected, right? So this person what ended up happening was I had this person who contacted me about working with me as a coach. And I had a call with them. We had gone back and forth about it for a while. And he said, send me the invoice. So I sent the invoice. And then nothing happened, right? Months went by, nothing happened. So I just figured, all right, change his mind, no big deal, whatever, it doesn't matter. And in that moment, he decided to sign up and he paid in full. So like, I had no clue this client was gonna show up. I had no clue this money was coming, but it showed up because I believed, right? And I chose that it was not gonna be any other thing, right? I made the decision and then I acted as if it was true. So we ended up going on the trip, right? We were there for the funeral. We ended up taking our friends out to dinner, which was really cool to be able to do and be able to afford to do that. And I ended up manifesting more money while I was on the trip, which was even better. And it just became such a cool thing, right? Just a fun thing that came out of us not having any money, not knowing what we were going to do. And yeah, it sucked that we were going down there for a funeral, but at the same time, we were so glad we could be there, right? We were so glad that we could make it happen. So it is possible. It is always possible to manifest what you want. And acting as if is a very, very game-changing way to make it happen. But it's also about how much risk are you willing to take, right? Because obviously there were risks involved in what we did. And I'm not saying you have to do it that way. Not at all. But we put some skin in the game, right? We decided to fix the car even though we didn't have the money. We decided to cancel all of our appointments even though we weren't sure we were going. We just decided we were. And we changed the appointments like we were, right? So even if we ended up not going, we wouldn't have had the appointments. But again, we knew we were going. And so we decided it and we made it happen. We did all the things we would do if we were going. So I will say that it helps to take risks sometimes. It helps to put a little skin in the game, but you don't have to, right? So you don't have to spend money that you don't have. Never. You never, ever, ever, ever have to spend money that you don't have to act as if. However, if you are feeling called to an inspired action that requires you to spend money and you're feeling like it is the right action for you, like I was feeling with fixing our car, then yes, of course, it's okay to take that action, knowing full well the possible consequences of it, right? Like obviously we knew if the money hadn't shown up for the trip, we would be negative in the bank account and we knew that, right? But we accepted it knowing that we didn't care because we believed it was going to happen. And so it did. So it's all about how much faith are you willing to demonstrate, right? How much faith, how much belief. And one of my favorite coaches and writers says that it is not actually faith until it looks like it didn't happen and you choose to believe anyway, right? It's faith is in the 11th hour. It's in that hour when it feels like it is not ever going to happen and you choose to believe anyway and you choose to act as if anyway. But like I said, you never have to spend money that you don't have. If anyone tells you that, they're lying straight up. You never, ever have to spend money you don't have to manifest, to act as if. There are always non-monetary things you can do. And the most important being your mindset, your beliefs, and your inner feeling state. Okay, so let's see. I just had a few more questions that people asked me, and then I'm going to check the question thread here, and then let me know if there's anything else you guys want to know about acting as if. And I've got a couple more examples as well if you want to hear them. Okay, next question. Any advice on the depths or limits of acting as if? Sometimes I feel it isn't realistic, and sometimes that it isn't possible. This is a good question too. Let's take a sip of water. Okay, so any advice on the depths or limits of this? Honestly, I don't believe there are any. I believe it's about what you feel, what you are willing to risk, what you are willing to do in faith, what you are willing to believe, feel, think, and take action on in faith. Like, I believe that it's all about you and what feels good to you, right? So you have to get connected with that for yourself. When I was talking about the manifesting the money for that trip, like, all the things we did felt good to me. If it didn't feel good, we wouldn't have done it. But it felt like that's the right action, right? That's the action we would take if the trip was a done deal. So we took those actions. So I don't know that there's a limit to it. I think, again, it's about how you feel. So in continuing with the question, you said, I feel it isn't realistic and sometimes that it isn't possible. So for that reason, there are probably acting as if actions that you're telling yourself you should take or that you need to take, but you're not really lined up with believing that they're going to work, right? You're kind of like, it's not realistic, it's not possible. So that's the stuff you want to deal with, right? Is what in you says that's not possible? What in you says it's not realistic? What in you says that you can't do this or you can't make it happen or you can't whatever, right? So you have to look at the inner stuff around that because that is going to stop you from taking action. That is going to stop you from believing. It is going to stop you from acting as if when you know there are things that you could be doing, right? So it's always about how it feels to you. At the end of the day, no matter what, it's how it feels to you. So if it feels really good, then great, do it, continue, like all of that, right? But if it doesn't, then you don't have to do it, right? There's always another way. There are millions of ways to make something happen. So you never have to do things that don't feel good to you. You never have to do things you don't want to do. Like, there's always another way. And I believe that fully. All right, so those were all the questions that you guys asked, and they were great questions, and I think that hopefully you learned a lot here and you can take some of this away. So like I said, I got a couple more examples, and I'm going to give them to you now, and if you have any other questions about anything before we wrap this up, just let me know in the comments. Manifest through what brings you joy. Great idea. Yes, exactly. It's like find the things in your life that already make you feel good and spend more time with them. Spend more time doing them, right? Whatever it is, even if it seems silly, because the sillier it is, the better, right? It's going to make you feel good. That's what matters. So like I said, I was joking when I'm saying go stand in your pantry if it feels really good. But if it does, do it, right? If it feels good to spend time with your dog, spend more time with your dog. If it feels good to read, go read more often. Like if it feels good to make art, then go make art. Like do the things that feel good to you, because when you're in a feeling state that is a match to what you desire to have, and everything you desire to have is because you believe it will feel good, right? You believe having that thing, the money, the car, the person, the house, whatever, you believe that having it's going to make you feel good. So in order to receive the thing and to be a match for it, you also have to feel good. So if you do nothing else, right? If you literally do nothing else and just choose to focus on feeling good every single day, as much as possible for as long as possible, you will have amazing things show up in your life because you are being a vibrational match to amazing things. Feel good. It is the key to everything. In fact, I literally tattooed that on my arm. You probably can't see the whole thing here. Feeling good is the point and the path. Like 100% believe that with every ounce of my being. I literally got chills when I said that because that is how much I believe it to my core. Okay. So a couple more examples for you. One of them is going to be for something that seems like out of reach for a lot of people. And the other one is going to be something that's more everyday that I think makes it easier to see how acting as if can work. Okay, so a few years ago, I was living in Austin when I was still married, and one of my friends was going to a Soul Cycle class. And Soul Cycle is this really cool, like you're riding on a cycle bike, but it's in a dark room. It's really warm, and they like play a lot of high vibe music, and they do a lot of like uplifting, like upbeat kind of just like talking and affirming things and all that. So it's like a really cool experience. And I had a lot of friends who had done this and I've been wanting to try it. So my friend was like, hey, do you want to go with me tomorrow morning at 9:30? Like I'm going to go to Soul Cycle and you want to come? So I was like, yeah, that'd be great. So I go on the app to sign up for the class and the class is full. So I was like, great, the class is full. And my friend already paid for the class. So she was like, well, I can't really go any later than that. Like I got to go at that time or whatever. So, maybe you can go on a wait list. So I was like, no, I'm not going to go on a wait list. I'm going to be in the class. I'm going to be in the class. Like, yeah, I'll go on the wait list because, they're going to put me on a wait list, but they're going to choose me. I'm going to be in the class. Like, I just decided I'm going to be in the class. Now, most people, if that were to happen to them, like, oh, I'm going to go to SoulCycle, but then the class is full, they would maybe put their name on the wait list, but that's it, right? That's all they would do. But not me. I was like, I'm going to be in this class. So yeah, I put my name on the wait list because I'm like, yeah, you're going to call me and say that there's an opening in the class. But then I did all of the things I would do as if I was going to that class 100% for sure. I went and got my gym clothes. I washed them because they were dirty and needed to be washed. So I did laundry. I dried everything. I had it laid out ready to go in the morning. I packed my bag. So like I had a bag that I would bring like my journal and some stuff to drink and all this stuff with me so that I could go downtown and get like a green juice or something before class. So I packed my bag, got it ready. And then I went to bed early enough that I knew I was going to get up early. So I went to bed earlier. Then in the morning, I got up, right? So some people would be like, okay, I'll do all that. But then if the phone hadn't rang yet, they wouldn't have got up, right? They would have just stayed in bed, slept in, whatever. Like it's Saturday morning. I don't want to get up early. No, I was going to that damn class. So I got up at 6:30. I walked my dog. I got the crock pot ready for dinner. Like I did all the things I would do as if I was going to this class and I was going to be gone for a while. Like I did all the things. And I got dressed. I put my gym clothes on. I got my bag. Still nothing had happened, right? No one had called me. No one had said the class was open. But I did not care. I was like, I am going to be in this class. Now, again, most people would have stopped there. Well, no one called me yet, so I'm just going to not worry about it. No, I said, I'm going to that class. So I'm going to go downtown and get a green juice and hang out and journal until they call me and tell me that the class has got a space open. So I literally go down, get in my car, I start driving downtown, and my phone rings, and it's SoulCycle. And they're like, hey, we just want to let you know a spot open in the 9:30 class. Do you want the spot? Yes, thank you. That would be great. So I manifested the class opening. I got the spot in the class. I also ended up going downtown early enough where I could journal, have a green juice, and then go meet my friend, do the class, and it was all great. Because I believed, right? I believed, I took action. And yeah, you could say, well, yeah, there's of course the chance that the class is going to open, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like if I hadn't done those things, it probably wouldn't have, right? They probably wouldn't have had a spot open and it would have just been, oh, another time. But I was committed to being there and I acted as if I was going the entire time. And so it happened. Okay, so that's like an everyday thing, right? That's an everyday way that you can use acting as if for things where you're like, no, actually, I'm not available for this. Like, I want to go to this class or I want this thing, but it looks like it can't happen. Okay, great. I'm going to make it happen anyway because I'm going to choose to decide that it's happening. And I'm going to act as if it's happening. And I'm going to do the things I would do if it was happening, right? So act as if. Okay, and then the final example I'm going to give you, and then I'm going to go and let me know if you have any questions. Like I said, the final example is I manifested being a best-selling author on Amazon by acting as if I was already a best-selling author on Amazon. So like I said, this is one of those things that a lot of people think it's not possible. I could never do that. How would that even happen? And I used to be that person too. So in 2015, before it had happened for me, I used to think those same things, right? It's not possible. I don't have a big enough audience. I'm not well known enough. I don't have enough book sales. Like all these limiting negative beliefs were going on telling me I couldn't be a best-selling author on Amazon. Now, obviously, there are tons of categories on Amazon, lots and lots of books out there. So of course it's possible to become a best-selling author in your category on Amazon. It is absolutely possible. But I didn't believe it was possible until early 2016, I met a coach and an author who had written 47 books. Now she has more, but at the time, 47. 46 of which had hit number one in her category on Amazon. So she had a best-selling author times 46, okay? And yeah, you could argue, well, she has a big following and she's got a category and all these things. Yeah, you could argue all that stuff, or you could just see that she hit number one 46 times. That's pretty freaking amazing, right? And if she could do it that many times, I could do it at least once. And that changed my belief right there, right? That extreme example changed my belief. It made me realize I could do it too. And so I decided in that moment, I'm going to become a best-selling author in my category on Amazon that year. So this was 2016. Now, I had no clue how I was going to do it. I had no clue what was going to be involved. I had no clue of anything. But I just knew I wanted it, and I decided it was going to happen, and that was it. And I was just going to act as if it was already true. So, of course, the first thing I did was ask myself, if I was already a best-selling author on Amazon, if I already had that happen for me, what would my day-to-day life be like, right? And one of the things I noticed was like, well, I'd have a better habit around my writing, right? I would probably be writing more books and putting more books out there because at the time I only had a couple out there. Now I have 13, right? So it's stepping into being that version of myself, right? The best-selling author version of myself. So I started to have the habit that I needed. I started to write and work on my books more often. So as I was doing that, I was actually running a 30-day challenge around writing habits and helping people to get their writing habits aligned with their goals. So right after I did the challenge, I had this thought, what if I turn that into a book? What if I take the stuff, the content from that challenge and I turn it into a book? And I thought, what a cool idea. So as I was working on putting that book together, I received an email that said, and literally this was the subject line, become a best-selling author this year. And I remember seeing it and thinking, holy shit, this is a sign, right? This is the universe being like, bam, you asked for it and here it is. Like, here is guidance. Here is inspiration. Here's something that's leading you to the how of getting this thing. So I opened the email and it was talking about this software that actually teaches you like what categories in Amazon are the easiest ones to rank in, what categories, like how many books do you need to sell. So basically it was just a way to get information about ranking on Amazon. And I was like, done. Signed up for it. It was like a 6-month subscription, something like that. And I was like, okay, done. Because as a best-selling author, I would have that kind of information, right? I would know how many books are required to be sold in my category. How many books do I need to hit number 1? Like, it gave you all that information. So I was like, perfect. I need to know this stuff. So I signed up. And what I ended up doing was I ended up finding there was this one writing category where it was not very hard to rank at number 1 because there wasn't really any books in that category and you didn't have to sell that many. I think it was like 100 books a month or something. And I was like, wow, that's easy. And actually I found in a couple other categories, like you only had to sell 500 in a month in order to hit number 1. Like there were just so many things I didn't realize. So I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. Like you don't have to sell as many as I thought and like all this stuff. So I decided, well, I'm going to finish this book that I've been working on, the Writing Habits book, because I'm almost done with it. And then I'm going to write a book to put in that little category and I'm going to get to number 1, right? Because there's not very many books in that category. So great, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I decided was going to be the how. Of course, that's not how it actually happened, of course, but that was what I decided. I'm going to do that, right? So then what ended up happening was I finished the Writing Habits book and I was about to publish it. So it was like a week away from publication. And I got this idea. I should start a mastermind group, like an online group, where I let people watch me become a best-selling author on Amazon, and I will explain to them every single month what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, what's involved, so that as it happens, they literally are getting a behind-the-scenes look at what I was doing, right? All these other, because at the time I was working with authors, and I had a big following of authors, and so it made sense that like that would be something they would be interested in. And so I was like, done, I'm doing that. The best-selling author me would have a group like that. And then the name. This name came to me. I wanted to call it the Best-Selling Author Mastermind. And I was like, I don't know if I should call it that because I'm not a best-selling author yet. And like, isn't that wrong to call it that? And my friend at the time was like, listen, you know you're going to be a best-selling author. You know that's what you're aspiring to, right? So the name of the group is aspirational, right? It's what you want. It's what everyone else in the group wants to be a best-selling author. She's like, so if you call it that, it's like setting that intention, right? It's literally putting the energy that they're saying like, this is who I am. This is who we are. This is what the group is all about. And so I was like, okay, you're right. Naming the group that is acting as if, right? It's acting as if it's really who I am. So I decided to call it the Best-Selling Author Mastermind. I launched my book. I launched the group. It was around the same day. And 30 people signed up for the group right away. So it was like one of my biggest launches at the time. I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like, how cool. And because, again, I thought, well, yeah, people want to watch me become a best-selling author. They want to know what I'm doing because they want to be able to do it too. So I launched the book. 3 days after I launched the book, the Writing Habits book, the one that I wasn't even thinking about having become a bestseller because I was focused on I'm going to write this other book for this other category and blah, blah, blah. Well, 3 days after I published that book, I get this email. And someone's like, hey, did you know your book is at number 3 in your category right now? And I was like, what? Number 3? Are you serious? Never been at number 3 before. That's crazy. So I go look on Amazon, and there's my book, Align Your Writing Habits to Success, at number 3 in my category. And I was like, holy shit. There are traditionally published books in this category that my book is ahead of right now. This is crazy. So, and my category was authorship. So like people who write books for authorship. So I thought it was kind of crazy, but I got inspired. Okay, if it's at number 3, I wonder if we can get it to number 1. So I sent an email to my list. I said, hey guys, my book's at number 3. I would love to get it to number 1. Could you possibly buy a copy if you're interested in it, or buy a copy for someone you know who would be interested in it? I would be forever grateful. Sent the email, one email. Posted on my Facebook, hey guys, my book's at number 3. I would love to get it to number 1. If you're interested in this book, I would love for you to buy a copy of it, blah, 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 right? 2 little things that I did. Went to bed that night, no big deal. Next morning I wake up, Align Your Writing Habits to Success is at number 1 in my category on Amazon, and I'm a best-selling author. 4 months after I made the decision that I was going to be, and then started acting as if it was already true. 4 months. And I didn't have to write 100 books. I didn't have to sell 100,000 books. Like, I think I only sold I don't even know, 500, a little less than 500. I don't even know. The point is, I don't know how it happened. I still don't know how it happened. It just happened because energetically, I was being that person, right? I was being the version of me who already hit number 1 in my category. And so I was doing the things, I was launching the things, I was doing all the things I would do in my business. And energetically, I was there already, right? I believed it already. And so it happened. And funnily enough, it ended up happening 2 more times that same year with 2 different books that I wrote, one of which hit number 1 in 3 categories and then stayed at number 1 for an entire month in one of those categories. So my belief that I couldn't be a best-selling author, that pretty much got kicked out the door, right? Because all of a sudden it was happening. And it didn't happen at all how I thought it would, and it didn't happen at all how I believed it needed to. And none of the things I thought were required were actually required, So hopefully this example not only shows you acting as if, but also that, like, if you stop trying to figure out how something is going to come through, if you stop trying to worry about the how and you just set the how aside and decide you're going to get it anyway, you're going to have it anyway, it's going to be yours anyway, there are so many ways that it can happen that you don't even know about, right? I had no clue that people were going to go crazy about that writing habits book. I had no clue that it was going to get to number 3 and then number 1. Like, I had no idea. I was still set on, I'm going to write a book for this other category and then it'll hit number 1. I never even ended up doing that because I didn't have to, right? Because it already hit number 1 in my other category. So it was amazing to me. But it was also this like testament to when you believe something is true, when you start acting as the version of you who is already that person, who already has the thing you want, it will happen. And it will happen so fast, it will blow your freaking mind, right? I went from not believing that it was possible to being a best-selling author in 4 months. 4 months. Now, that's my timeline. Yours could be faster, yours could be longer. It's not about the timeline, right? It's about how much can you believe, feel, think, and act like that version of you. And the more you're willing to do, the more you're going to feel like that version of you. And as soon as you feel like the version of you who has the thing, like literally when you're at the place where you're like, it is absolutely ridiculous that I don't have this right now because I feel like it's already mine, right? When you get to that place, it's a done deal. It is happening. It is going to show up. It's just a matter of time. See, until it does show up, you just have to keep trusting, keep believing, keep working the inner work, right? Keep changing the thoughts, changing the beliefs, changing the feeling state, back to aligning with what you want and knowing that every time you do that, you're becoming a vibrational match to it. You're becoming a match to having what you want. And when you do that enough, it has to come to you. It is law. You know what didn't happen yet? You haven't told us what's your favorite kind of pizza. Well, I don't know if you want to know my favorite kind of pizza. I'm gluten-free, so my favorite kind of pizza is gluten-free pizza, which pretty much means no pizza because gluten-free pizza mostly sucks. Yeah, but thankfully there are some good places where I live and I know how to make decent gluten-free pizza, so that's always helpful. But my favorite pizza toppings, I mean, I kind of go back and forth, but I love veggie pizzas and I love margaritas. So probably one of those two, I would say. All right, so do you have any other questions about acting as if? I'm going to be doing more videos on this topic, more stuff on my TikTok channel talking about this. And of course, the recording from this live stream is going to go on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Jennifer Blanchard. So if you want to watch it again, you can always go over there and do that. It'll be probably tomorrow or so when I get it up. Yeah, so that's it for the live stream. Let me know if you have any final questions. And if this intrigued you, if you're like, I like this, this sounds like how I would like to manifest, this sounds like something that I could do, then 2 things. 1, you could check out my book, Fuck the How. It's available on Amazon right now, and it will walk you through the entire manifestation process, as well as talking a lot about acting as if and how to apply that into your own life. And get on my email list. Be sure to get on my email list. So I have a freebie. It's called Fuck the How. It's a freebie training thing. It has an audio and a worksheet. And you can get it by going to jenniferblanchard.net/fuckthehowfreebie. And that will put you on my email list because I have a brand new course coming out very soon, like in the next 24 hours or so. It is going to be amazing. It is all about acting as if. I'm going to actually be showing you how to implement all the stuff we've been talking about here in your actual life for whatever specific thing you desire, right? Whatever it is for you, it's going to be different for everybody, but the process works regardless. So if you're interested in that, if you're like, oh my God, I would love to be in a course with you, learning about this for 6 weeks and getting your help, actually applying it and how to change my thoughts and my beliefs and my feelings around this and how to start taking action as if I'm already there, then get on my email list, like I said, because this course is coming out in the next 24 hours or so. I thought I was going to have the link ready for this. Didn't quite get it ready, but it will be ready tomorrow probably. So if you get on my email list, then you will be able to get the link with no problem. I will most likely also be sharing it on TikTok, but just in case, know that if you get on my email list right now, then you'll be good to go, and you will definitely be able to get information about the course when it comes out. So jenniferblanchard.net/fuckthehowfreebie. And that is it for me. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you guys very soon. And until then, remember, feeling good is the point and the path.